The Republican Party in the House of Representatives has passed the Parents' Bill of Rights. Now, this is another political stunt on their part. This is another chance for them to throw red meat to their base, not actually get anything done for the American people. But it's a part of the culture war, and it works for them politically in many ways, unfortunately. We will walk through and focus in on a particular aspect of this Parents' Bill of Rights bill that is concerning and kind of shows you, number one, how unserious the Republican Party in the House really is, and also how dangerous if they actually had more power and the Senate wasn't going to obviously just completely ignore this. The Democratic-led Senate is not going to entertain this Parents' Bill of Rights, so it's not going anywhere. But if in a situation, or if we were in a situation where the Republican Party had the House, Senate, and White House, I'm going to show you what could be getting passed in a bill like this in a second here. But first, here's Kevin McCarthy discussing this.
You now have a say in your kids' education. You get the warning. If there's any violence on the campus, you get to know where the money is being spent. You need to get to know what the reading materials are, and you get to protect your children's privacy as well. I just want to thank Julia Letlow, Chairwoman Fox for their work on this, and for all the members for helping putting this across the line, and for the American public to trust us with the majority. And we're keeping our promise to you, our commitment to America, that the parents will have a say in their kids' education.
So parents already have a say in the kids' education. Parents already have access to school administrators, to teachers of their students. So what is this about then? Why are they, what they'll talk the most about is giving more access for parents to information, curricula, books, all of that within the school. And what it's trying to do is give the maximum amount of power. It's not to say you have to hide that stuff. People have access already. Teachers are in touch with parents. Parents can reach out to the school, ask questions, hear about their students' progress, what's being learned, all of that. And we'll get to one of the radical parts of this bill in a second. But what this is really doing is trying to give as much power as possible to the vocal minority of parents who have rather fringe views when it comes to education, and saying, we are going to give you the necessary fodder to then cause a whole uproar about all these different things we've seen over the last months, where parents are getting involved in banning very reasonable books for their kids in many cases, and preventing things from being taught, and motivating governors such as Ron DeSantis to go after the LGBTQ community, try to keep all discussions of sexual orientation, gender identity, as DeSantis' administration is doing right now, expanding that up to 12th grade, complete ban on sexual orientation and gender identity discussion, instruction within schools. That's what this is about, to feed that storyline, that narrative. Here from CNN, and then we'll discuss one of the elements of this. The House voted Friday to pass a controversial bill that aims to increase so-called parental rights in the classroom, as House Republicans spotlight an issue that has emerged as a key party priority. And it notes the Senate is not expected to take up the bill. So let's get to one of these provisions, one of the details within this. This is from LGBTQ Nation, and then we'll look specifically from congress.gov at what is going on here. The House of Representatives is expected to vote, and they already did, on a bill that could restrict materials available in school libraries and require schools to get parental consent before referring to a trans or non-binary child with the correct pronouns and first name. H.R. 5, the Parents' Bill of Rights Act, would require schools to list all books and other reading materials available in the library on a website. Again, parents can call up the library, can visit the library, and figure out what books are there. This is trying to give as much energy and momentum to the radical and vocal small portion of parents who are going to be obsessing over this, so that they can get mad about the Rosa Parks book being in the library, as recent schools have had an issue with, on a website or another place that parents can access. The provision echoes debates in school board meetings over the past several years over books by LGBTQ plus authors and about racism that many conservative parents have sought to ban, but the bill does not call for banning any book in particular. And then take a look at this. The bill contains a list of information that schools must provide for parents in an understandable format. The list includes a right to know if a school employee or contractor acts to change a minor child's gender markers, pronouns, or preferred name, or allow a child to change the child's sex based accommodations, including locker rooms or bathrooms. And so right here, this is saying that if a kid said, please identify me as he, him, for example, or can you please call me Luke? I know my actual name is, or the name I've been going by is this, but can you please call me Luke? And what this would do is force teachers, before they act again to change their identification of that student, they would have to notify the parents. Why would that be disastrous? There are tons of hateful anti-LGBTQ individuals who happen to have kids in school systems. And if a kid at school feels comfortable having their classmates and their teachers identify them as the gender that they identify as, and they are not yet comfortable with telling their parents because of the hateful views, or just because they're not ready, but especially when they're afraid of how their parents would react, if the act of changing a minor's pronouns, just changing how the teacher identifies that minor, were to cause the teacher to have to identify the parents, then you could be forcibly outing kids, as we'll get to AOC highlighting in a second here. And just so you know, it's not just LGBTQ Nation highlighting this. This is actually within the bill itself. Parents' right to know. It's under the Parents' right to know section. And indeed, right here, let's see if we can find this particular. Here we go. Change a minor child's gender markers, pronouns, or preferred name. Now, I know the argument will be, no, it's if the teacher, forces a kid to change their gender? As if. But if the teacher's changing how they identify a child because the child asked them to respect their pronouns, for example, their gender, or even preferred name, within the context of gender or outside the context of gender, just someone who wants to go by a nickname, I guess this applies to as well. When the teacher takes that action of respecting the identity of the student, they would have to notify teachers. At least this is left purposely vague to make that a big question mark, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez highlights this very nicely.
But before they claim that this is not
and this is more of a general response than you'll hear her address what I just said.
About banning books and not about harming the LGBT community, let's just look at the impacts of similar Republican legislation that has already passed on the state level. Look at these books that have already been banned due to Republican measures. The Life of Rosa Parks. This apparently is too woke by the Republican Party. Song of Solomon is unacceptable to Republican politics. 40% of banned books have reported are significantly addressing and specifically addressing LGBT issues. To say and talk about government reach and freedom, this Republican bill is asking the government to force the outing of LGBT people before they are ready. And talking about the rights of parents in this gallery today, the National Parents Union is here saying, don't do this. I have a letter that I'd like to submit where they are asking the Republican Party to keep culture wars out of classrooms. Our children need urgent and aggressive educational solutions. The American Library Association coming out against this Republican proposal. When we talk about progressive values, I can say what my progressive value is, and that is freedom over fascism. Thank you very much.
So you heard her outlining all the absurd elements of this, as well as the fact that this would force teachers, again, to out students to their parents, which coming out, whether it be coming out as trans or coming out as gay whatever it might be. That is up to the individual coming out, not to their teacher, not to the federal government. And so if a child wants to be respected in school but knows they're not ready to have this part of who they are known to their parents, that's up to them. Teachers shouldn't be causing what could be a dangerous situation in their household to exist. And I have to say, all of these efforts, again, I mentioned previously, DeSantis' administration trying to remove all instruction, all recognition of the reality of sexual orientation and gender identity within the classroom, K through 12, all the way up to 18-year-olds. And I am very sick with Republicans, not all Republicans, but at least this driving force of the modern Republican Party trying to force out of the conversation and of society human beings and honest discussions about concepts that are present. I'm sorry, they're just present in our society, and we should be informed so that we can be good citizens in our society with different people, with different identities. And it's just the fact of the matter, no matter how much you dislike it, LGBTQ people exist. No matter how many attempts to push this community out of the conversation, as I said, to push them out of the classroom, to push them out of a compassionate space, and to create a space that is not compassionate for them, still LGBTQ people and the concepts of gender identity and sexual orientation exist. And until you understand how to get past your own hate, your own discomfort, your own misunderstanding about human beings and important concepts that impact our society, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do to convince you or to help you on this journey, because right now it's getting really tiring dealing with this type of nonsense. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the extra bonus show on Saturdays, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. Link in the description.